Hey, everybody, it's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically, it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday. So subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites. At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, 4 residents with a penchant for mysteries try to solve a homicide in their British retirement community. We'll talk about the feature film, The Thursday Murder Club. Joining me to get this done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, the host of These Are Their Stories, and my husband and love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Also with us, private investigator, certified pet detective, cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain, Laura Bricker. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, our captain of all things cynical, author of the City Trilogy of novels, host of Rip Current, Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon book club podcast, Toby Ball. Hi, Toby.
V. Gates, Rebecca.
So, Kevin.
Yes.
This is a program.
It is a program.
What's coming up on our next program?
Yeah, coming up on our next show, on Monday, we're going to be talking about Season 11 of Breakdown. And also, we have another brand new show coming out on Thursday, so we're back to our 2 fresh episodes a week. On Thursday, we'll be talking, not this Thursday, next Thursday, we'll be talking about the podcast Hands Tied. Rebecca, can I make one plug before we move it along?
Sure.
I just want to let everybody know that, again, I will be doing my Walk a Mile in Their Shoes walkathon to help the Crisis Center of Central New Hampshire. That's coming up on October 8th, and I'll have more details later on. I don't have the website set up at the moment of this recording, but as you remember, this is the thing where I go and put on a pair of high heel shoes. We walk a mile, and I'm winking when I say it's a mile, and we raise funds for a really great cause. I'm looking forward to talking more about it as we get closer to it, but didn't want to let too much time go by because we're almost done with September. Let you know that Walk a Mile's coming up on October 8th.
And I go as well to Walk a Mile just to flirt with my favorite cute TV reporter.
Yeah, not me anymore.
Sean McDonald.
Yeah.
I'm always like, hi. And then, of course, the famous time where I said, I talk about you on the podcast sometimes. And he goes, I know. Cat is out of the bag.
Yeah. See you there, Sean.
All right, Kevin, should we talk about the thing that we are being paid to talk about right now?
Let's do
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Leading off.
Joyce, would you care to join us to discuss things further? Privately?
Oh, all right. But who is us?
I'm sorry, how rude of me. We're the Thursday Murder Club.
A group of pensioners at a British retirement village have an unusual hobby. They gather weekly to ponder cold cases. But when its co-owner is murdered in the midst of a business dispute over closing the Cooper Chase facility, the elderly sleuths insert themselves into the mystery.
If Tony Curran is dead, who's going to protect Cooper's Chase from being destroyed? Ventham can do what he wants.
Yes, of course, and I'm very sorry about Tony. Obviously, R.I.P. and all that.
Who'd want to kill Tony Curran?
Mm-hmm. And how do we catch them?
With a mix of senior citizen charm and a lifetime of hidden expertise, the Thursday Murder Club digs into the shady backgrounds and dodgy business associates of the retirement community's remaining owners. As the bodies pile up, these armchair detectives find themselves in real-world peril as they get closer to solving the mystery.
So I've collected photos from everyone at the scene. My guess is it happened during the scrum. A lethal dose administered quietly and coolly while everyone was fighting.
So the killer is in these pictures?
Absolutely.
We're all in these pictures. We're all suspects.
Based on the hit book series, The Thursday Murder Club stars Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, and Ben Kingsley. It brings the cozy murder trope into a quiet retirement village where the unlikely sleuths chase down a killer and remind the world that experience, friendship, and love never, grow old. Aw. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about plot points from the Thursday Murder Club, so if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. So, Laura, this place, Cooper's Chase, it's kind of like where you live, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Out here in Granny Village, out in the condo development in Exeter, next to a retirement home. Yeah. I wish it's where I lived.
Laura, you're one busted condom away from being a grandmother yourself, so don't turn your nose up.
Wow.
We all are.
Well, I'm just saying, I want to live in this place. It is like location porn for like the senior population. I don't know if it was a convent or a manor home or something. And it's like, not like you would think of a traditional assisted living. They have these big apartments with tall ceilings and like beautiful lighting. I was never really sure like how many apartments are actually in here, how many people live here. They've got their support llamas. They're out doing like archery. And then here are the people that I want to hang out with. They're like, we're not going to be out like crocheting or whatever. We're solving murders. And I'm like, this is amazing. I did not read the book, but either way, I'm like, this is what I want to be doing when I am 80 or 90 years old.
Yeah. So, Toby, this isn't the only program that we talk about on this show that has people of a certain age diving into the world of murder. There's another big one that we all really like a lot. How do you think this one compares to that one?
Not well. I watching this, I sort of highlights to me like what makes Only Murders in the Building so sort of unique and special, I think, which is that, the characters just have this sort of resonance to them. I think it's partly because there's sort of this fundamental sadness and sort of fighting off loneliness and stuff that they all, well, I guess Martin Short and Steve Martin in particular deal with, but they just feel like real people that you kind of care what happens to them and they feel like fully fleshed out. Whereas I kind of felt like the characters in this, they're just barely drawn as individuals, right? Like I couldn't tell you, beyond Ben Kingsley being a former psychiatrist and, I guess sort of being gay, I think that's what's being implicated. I don't know anything about his personality. There's nothing about him really. Like, they're all just so broadly drawn that it's really hard to feel much for him. And you've got these great actors, Helen Mirren. It just felt like somebody she could play like in her sleep. Like it just didn't feel like there was much depth to the characters or anything like that. So, it's a fine, whatever. It's entertaining, but it sort of lacks that spark, which I think makes a show like this sort of rise above, which is that the characters are beyond relate to them. Like you sort of like them, you come to feel like more like they're real people than just characters. And I just never had a sense of that with these people.
Yeah. So Kevin, what do you think like the tone of this is? It was directed by Chris Columbus, who is famous for making some of the corniest movies in Hollywood history.
The first couple of Harry Potter, this
and
place,
they're corny.
This seems like a little bit like old person Hogwarts, right?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah. I'll just say those first two movies were the weakest of all the Harry Potter movies. They have no
the first one's
darkness. They have no depth. They have corny music.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the tone of this?
Can you get like white and red wine with lunch? I'm with Laura on this. Like when I'm 80, I want to be put there because it's like llamas. Yes, please. We're just going to have fine dining all the time. And please, I'll have some of that.
Get to be surrounded by my antiques.
Exactly. But the tone, I think this is, it's fine for what it is, right? It's light, it's cozy mystery, which is why, it's not dark. It's not going to be noir. That's not the tone it's going to go for. It's both its strength and its weakness. We can talk, we always try not to argue about what this is versus what this isn't, or what this could have been created to. Well, okay, I'm always I do. I'm like, but so this was produced as a film that got picked up by Netflix. And if this had been something that was developed by Netflix, I'm sure they would have looked at this book and said, oh, this could be a series, right? Certainly looking at some of the other things that they've produced, and it would have allowed more time for the character development that Toby's talking about when you get 6 or 8 episodes rather than a 2-hour thing. And so with any movie, I don't know if it's in 7 acts or whatever it is, you got to get from here to there in a quick amount of time. And you've got 2 Oscar winners and 2 Oscar nominees in this cast, and
tons of other awards among this cast. I'm sure.
I mean, it just seemed like it was a missed artistic opportunity. Not one from the director, but one from like the business people that would have been like, Toby knows this because he's in the business now, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you make the whole film without a distributor, right? And it's like, okay, now so-and-so is going to put it out, and that's why in the beginning when you see like 5 or 6 different cards produced by this studio and that studio, and this is sort of the thing where, okay, Netflix is the one that grabbed it and put it out, but Netflix, I think, would have been uniquely positioned to create a series out of this, and we'll be talking about, that was really great. Season 2, please.
Yeah. So
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
all right.
I believe I read this book before Only Murders in the Building came out. And it was, at the time, the first piece of pop culture that I had ingested in a long time that really painted this, like, I thought 360 view of older people. And the movie does so the opposite of that. And I was afraid I was going to be disappointed, and I was. And I think that, Kevin, you talked about it potentially being a series, is right. Because the reader, and I think the viewer, shouldn't know that Elizabeth, Helen Mirren's character, is a former MI6 agent until some plot has happened. We should not know that. We should not know that Ron Ritchie was a former, like, hard-scrabbling union boss. It shouldn't be that evident. We should just be like, why is this guy so gruff? Joyce,
the need for efficiency, right?
I know.
Yeah,
Joyce,
yeah.
Who's played by Celia Imrie, who's also a wonderful actor, she is super fucking annoying. Like, almost all the way through the first book, Elizabeth finds her insufferable.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like the older person who just never stops talking and like keeps inserting herself in things, and she's clearly out of her depth. And then later you realize she's kind of not, but it's like a slower burn. And the place itself, in the book, I actually cared about them losing their homes. And in this movie, I was like, okay, well, they're rich. They can just go somewhere else. Like, we haven't had time to develop any real affection and the stakes of like what it would mean if this thing were developed into something else, because we don't really get the richness of how they ended up there, why they're there. There's no other place like it. Like, that's just not a thing we get here. So I feel like the surface treatment of it really worked to its detriment, and it kind of bummed me out. That being said, the casting is pretty great, right, Laura?
Yeah, I think the casting was fantastic. I agree with everything you said, Rebecca. I did not read the book. I started listening on audiobook, and then I just kept falling asleep. And it wasn't that the book wasn't good. It was that I would listen to it at night, and soothing voices and English accents make me go to sleep.
You just got overtaken by a learner.
For God's sake, Ibrahim, we're trying to find out how fast Ian Ventham could have driven from Cooper's Chase to Tony Curran's house. Keyword, fast.
Anyone want a jelly baby?
My calculations are not based on speed. I have this rather complex algorithm which will enable me to determine if Ian Bentham would have got there in time to murder Tony Curran.
But, the casting is fantastic. You've got everybody there. I love how Helen Mirren's character is kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, I was MI6. And then she's like driving her like retirement gift, and Joyce is baking the cakes. And, you have the section where I loved it when, again, activities, they have the young, handsome man that they're all painting, and, he's half naked. And they're like, oh, Joyce, you have a gift.
Yes, because she did the penis.
Yes. But so the casting was great. I agree with what you're saying. I would have loved to see this as a series because, again, you could keep on watching. You could develop the characters. But at the same time, this is like one of those movies where I'm like, okay, you have your relatives over on a holiday. You've had food or you're waiting for food and it's awkward. You just turn it on because it's light and happy in the background and it's got pretty scenery and it's not offensive. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cute. It's like Hallmark with a kick.
Yeah. So, Toby, one of the actors we didn't talk about here was Jonathan Pryce, another great actor of stage and screen who's been in some of my favorite things. I think a little underutilized. What do you think?
Well, it seems like he's specializing in people with dementia recently because he does that on Slow Horses. He does that here. He's got basically one scene. He's in a bunch of scenes, but there's one scene where he's like actually really having to act. It's a good scene. Like, he does a good job with it. And it's the one sort of really suspenseful scene, I guess.
Knight to e4. I don't wish to be rude, Bogdan. But did you kill Tony Curran?
You think I killed Tony Curran?
Yes, I do, old boy. I do, I'm afraid. Knight to e2.
So, yeah, I mean, I think there's just a lot of people with a lot of talent who don't do very much, like Ben Kingsley. has he ever had a smaller role than he has in this? Like, he barely does anything.
Well, Gandhi was a pretty small role,
Gandhi. Yeah, Gandhi, an 8-hour movie. Anyway, I mean, Jonathan Pryce is great, but again, it's a lot of acting chops, not doing very much.
Yeah, I agree with you guys on Ben Kingsley. And I think part of the problem is that character isn't given much to do, but also he doesn't have any other connection outside of that friend group. Like, someone's got the mom, someone's got their husband, the son. He's not anchored to like another character. So they sort of miss an opportunity. I don't know, is that the way it is in the book?
Yes, but he's a lot more active in the book as a part of the core story.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, again, I'm not trying to compare it to the book that I didn't read. I'm just kind of curious as sort of like the original thought here. But it does seem sort of like a stripped down cast of characters beyond these four. You know, if you think about The Residence, like, even though I didn't like that, it had a big group of people who could have been suspects, right? And this seems to be a rather small pool of characters who could be suspects. And you don't get an Agatha Christie sense of bodies piling up. You know, there was more than one murder, and there's a little bit of menace against Elizabeth. But I think it's sort of one of the issues where, like, this could have been a bigger story. It could have been a lot more rich if they had decided to sort of maybe veer away. If they had more time and they could have expanded this like so many other, I think, mid concepts have been, we probably could have had a little more with this. But I also, did very much like Helen Mirren's performance as Elizabeth.
You know where you can find a little more, Kevin?
Where?
In our Patreon.
That's true.
Oh my God.
That's true. You sure can.
That was cold. I love it. That's a cold job. Yeah, I mean, we have another way to help us out here and keep the show going. It's at Patreon. Patreon.com/Partners in Crime Media. Hey, they're all doing like new stuff on Patreon. We'll be caught up on a new fresh look for our page. But what's always fresh is our content. We have the Crime Writers on after show.
We do?
Yeah. In the last one, Laura Bricker talked all about Will going skydiving. That was an interesting conversation. Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast. His next book is called The Adversary. Toby, who's on your panel to talk about this book?
We have got Sarah Carradine from Crime Scene, Julie Millard, who is a university professor, and Dr. Shirley Lero, who is a deep dive favorite.
Amazing.
Another great podcast is our advice podcast, Married with Podcast.
We're so smart.
In the next episode, we're going to give some advice to a younger listener who had been through some things and became estranged from their parents, and now dad wants to reconcile, and whether or not they should put themselves out there and make that happen. Listen to our advice about that. Rebecca Lavoie continues to find interesting tidbits to talk about in the readathon.
Yes.
The fallout from the Karen Reed case continues.
She got her car back.
She finally got her car back.
Finally.
Fantastic. Laura Bricker has an exclusive podcast. It's called Leave It to Bricker. And Laura is continuing to do all sorts of things, wrapping up the summer of Bricker. And Laura, one of the things that you have been looking at is what happened to the parrot heads.
Oh. Jimmy Buffett Day was just recently before we taped this podcast, the anniversary of his passing. I went out on what I thought was going to be a great Jimmy Buffett reunion. I didn't find exactly what I thought I was going to find.
Boo.
It was a sad state of affairs, but I'm on the hunt. I'm going to find the parrot heads.
I love the suspense. Other ways you can support us besides Patreon include checking out our Amazon storefront. You can do it. It's very easy. When you go to Amazon.com.
Just use our link.
Use our link. It's Amazon.com/shop/CrimeWritersOn, and there you can see all sorts of recommendations, including Rebecca's recommendations. What are yours for this week?
Just to be clear, you don't have to buy what I'm recommending. You can buy anything you want.
No.
You can buy anything you want using our link. Anyway,
right.
I am recommending these cute little toothbrush head covers that you can get for traveling because we're in Europe right now, Kevin. And these toothbrush head covers, they're really small. They look just like a little hair clip.
Yeah,
and
so
you just clip it over the top.
fold.
It's really, really awesome. And it does fit on our electric toothbrush. I tried it out.
Oh, super. Now, Toby Ball, what are your listener-inspired Toby Ball's deep cut recommendations?
Occasionally, I just pick these things because I don't understand them, and I hope somebody will explain them to me when I read them. So this one is Vital Proteins Collagen Peptides Powder. Grass-fed collagen peptides for hair, nail, skin, bone, and joint health. Unflavored, 27 for some reason servings.
People love that shit.
Do collagen peptides eat grass? Is that what I'm supposed to take out of this?
I think it's from a cow that eats grass, right?
Oh.
I'm not 100% sure what that is. Yeah.
Oh, collagen is a supplement that people take, and it's for skin and hair and stuff.
And what's peptide?
Peptide is a protein, right?
Just supposed to make you seem healthy. I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right. Someone thought it was valuable enough to purchase.
Well,
so
I
thank you
was
for that.
I was trying to figure out how peptides eat grass. Anyway, my other one is Goodr. That's Goodr. 3 parts tea, polarized sunglasses for men and women, medium-sized, OG, light brown translucent frame with copper non-reflective glare reducing.
Nice.
So it's either a t-shirt or sunglasses.
I think it's sunglasses. I think it's somebody who's an aviator.
Yes.
Needed those to look cool.
All right.
Remember, you can shop us, and we would love for you to shop us first. Take a look at amazon.com/shop/CrimeWritersOn and go on and do the rest of your shopping if you wish. We do earn commissions on qualified purchases.
Kevin, before we end the business section, do we have any Patreon patron saints of the week this week?
Our Patreon patron saints are Mary Hayes and Laura Hoff. Bless you.
Bless you, Mary. Bless you, Laura. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. We can't do what we do without supporters like you who help us make additional content for you to enjoy, but also make this show something we can offer for free outside the paywall. We really appreciate your support. Kevin.
Yes.
Does that end the business section?
Thus ends the business section.
Hey, everybody. It's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically, it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday. So subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
So, Laura, you have some deep thoughts about this show.
Sorry, Laura, but sometimes those deep thoughts can be very distracting.
It's true.
Or sometimes you just really need to talk it out, which is why finding a therapist is important, but it can be hard to do, and that's where the folks from Rula come in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes accessing affordable, high-quality mental health care easier. If a lot of people want to do it online, finding one that takes your insurance can be a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
So Rula partners with over 100 insurance plans to match users with licensed in-network therapists and psychiatrists nationwide. So they work on sort of like, what your goals are. Some people might find the world a little challenging.
Yes.
Some people might be doom scrolling.
Why?
Some people might be thinking about their future. And
yes.
Talking to someone about it is great, especially talking to somebody about it who knows what they're doing. No offense to like any of your sisters, Rebecca, but I just don't think that maybe they are the best people to sort of like
help me with my existential dread.
Exactly. So Rule is going to stick with you through your journey, checking in, make sure that the care is helping, moving you forward, and appointments are often available as soon as tomorrow. And most patients are paying just $15 a session.
Wow.
Thousands of people are already using Rula for therapy that is high quality, accessible, and best of all, covered by insurance.
Visit Rula.com/CWO
CWO
to get started. After signing up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Let them know that this show sent you.
We're Crime Writers On, by the way.
That's RULA.com/CWO.
CWO.
Because mental health care should work with you and not against your budget. So, Kevin.
Yes.
Who is the next sponsor for this episode of this podcast?
Yeah, we're brought to you by Quince.
Oh, yeah.
So fall is in full swing, and it's the perfect time to refresh your wardrobe with pieces that feel as good as they look. I'm so upset that fall is here, in part because I can't really discuss the great pair of swim trunks that I got from Quince.
Oh, yeah.
It was your advice to, get the shorter ones.
Yes.
The length a little shorter there so people see more of my thigh.
That's right. You got a cute little leg that you want to show off, right, Kevin?
Absolutely. But we can't stop you from buying from Quince.
Oh, my God.
So what pieces have become staples in your fall wardrobe?
Well, I love the fisherman's cotton sweater. I have two of them. I have one in black and I have one in tan. They are so cute. I wear them with everything. And I just bought this pair of pants I have had my eye on for a really long time. These French terry wide leg pants. They look like jeans, but apparently they're very stretchy and very comfortable. I got them in the olive green, and I'm so excited about getting those.
Yeah, so keep it classy and cozy this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince.
Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/crime to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime. So, Toby, one of the things about the character Ron is that he's definitely the most hardscrabble of these folks. He's a former union organizer and a fan of your favorite football team, right?
Yeah, he's a West Ham fan. They lean into that, and the final thing they show is him and his son with matching West Ham polo shirts. I think that's supposed to be like a signifier for sort of working class type stuff. I think West Ham's considered like sort of the London working man's team. So thus my favorite characters.
Yes. There's also a lady cop in the show, Laura Bricker.
Yeah.
Who is a very differently sketched character in this movie than she was in the novels, which I'm sorry I keep bringing up, but they are the source material.
Would you like to be investigating the murder of Tony Curran? That is never going to happen. But if we could make it happen, would you be interested?
If we could make it happen? Who do you think you are, the head of MI5?
What did you think about Donna the cop? Has just moved to this country place from London and seems a little fish out of water.
Yeah, so we first meet her, she comes out to give like the don't be gullible, you old people, and get scammed by X, Y, and Z. And they're like, yeah, we've already heard this like a million times. But then when the actual body is found and they're like, we need an in at the police department. I did appreciate the conspiring amongst this quartet of how they were going to get Donna on the case to be their inside woman, complete with them going and leaning into the stereotype of being old and being like, oh, my purse was stolen or whatever happened. And then Pierce Brosnan's character staging this elaborate sort of break-in rummage. I don't even know what happened to his place, but he would only talk to her. So they get her on the case. There's nothing that's like a heavy lift here. Of course, they get her on the case and right away she's like, well, look in the picture. Did you see that tattoo? I know whose tattoo that. There's another person. And now I know who that is. She was fun. I liked when, she gets put with this sort of bumbling detective guy who looks like he really isn't paying attention the whole time. And you're like, oh, this guy's an idiot. And he does finally come to at the end. But I appreciated that she was there and they were texting with her. And I thought that was fun when they're like, we're texting Donna. Who? The police officer, Donna. You know Donna. So I thought she was a fun character. Again, none of these characters were super deep. They were just like fun people who came in and out, and she was one of them.
I like it when I just listened to a book that's sort of a ripoff of the Thursday Murder Club, but it was kind of good. And basically in it, the cop totally gives up on the whole don't get involved in my investigation thing and just immediately is like, you seem smart, I'm going to make you a deputy. Right? And it's just like, so it gives the old people something to do the whole time. And one of the things they don't have to do is argue with the cop about why they should be involved or whatever. And I was like, thank you. That's so boring at this point.
I'm just skipping ahead 50 pages and accepting you.
Yes, but also the only joke that landed with me in the entire thing was when Helen Mirren got dressed up to go do her secret squirrel act at the police department. And Jonathan Pryce looks at her and says, what, Kevin?
Like the Queen.
What on earth are you wearing? You look like the Queen.
Do I?
Yes.
Why is that funny, Kevin?
Because she won an Oscar for playing the Queen.
Exactly.
By the way, he played
outfit.
Prince Philip too in the Crown. So yeah, I'm sure the two of them were like,
that's who that was.
Yeah.
Oh, it was driving me crazy the whole time. I looked him up on IMDb. I'm like, no, that's not where I know that guy from.
He's been in everything, Laura. Jonathan Pryce. He's been in stuff since like the 70s.
Glenn Ross.
Yes.
Game of Thrones.
He was in a famous commercial, like
in the U.S.
Yeah, he's been in some like big ads.
Oh, I don't know.
I found myself wondering while I was watching this, are they going to make a film series about this? Because we're in the spoiler section, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll just tell you, Bogdan becomes an important character in this series. Like, he's not really in much trouble for this thing that he did.
Is he the killer in the book?
Yeah, but it's sort of like a thing where the guy that he killed was actually doing like way worse shit, and it ended up being sort of self-defense or something. I don't remember. But he ends up being really important because he ends up being Steven's like de facto caretaker. He can play chess as well as Steven, and so Stephen's whole, up until Stephen later passes away in one of the books, which is very sad. Also, the other thing that I love about these books, by the way, is some of the old people die, which actually happens in real life. Like old people sometimes die, and it happens in these books sometimes. And like a character who's just there, all of a sudden there's like a death scene, and you're like, oh my God, I guess they're not going to be in any of the future books. Anyway, but he's an important character, and he's definitely painted very superficially here in a way that I think was a missed opportunity.
That's a great plot technique, because the thing with cozy mysteries that I learned when I was writing the Piper Green books is it's so easy. With each one, you have more and more characters because you're in these little small towns, and you're like, it gets unwieldy how to manage all the characters. In this one, they just die.
They just die because
That's
they're
brilliant, because cozy mysteries can get a little out of control with all the characters you have to keep up with.
We saw it at the beginning that one of the Thursday Murder Club members was dying, right? And her husband was sitting by her side, and they
Penny.
And she's a killer.
She is actually.
I thought when they set that up in the beginning with the cold case, that it was like the killer was going to be among the people, like one of the residents. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. But no, I mean, okay.
But they found the body in the other
body. There was the cozy
body.
twist. It was, the woman who was on her way out was
Yes.
the old cop. She was the one.
Yes.
You know how they knew that? Because she looked at all the photos and everybody's laughing except her.
She's got a stern look on her face.
She's got a sourpuss on, so she's obviously the culprit. As we discussed in the last week's documentary, if you got a sourpuss on, you must have done something.
You must have done it if you got a sourpuss on. Kevin, are you one of these men that has a crush on Helen Mirren?
Do I have a crush on her? No, I do not have a crush on her, but I admire her. I think she did really well in this very kind of tight, wound up, icy woman of mystery, determined, because we find out, like, why is she so confident? It's because she's MI6. So you're right. I mean, that would have been
better as a reveal.
Better as a reveal. Could have been. I mean, she definitely was kind of looking, I was in international. So, like, you already know, like, oh, okay, there's something to that. But again, we got to get to that reveal in the next 75 minutes, otherwise so we can have the big final scene. But yeah, she did good. I mean, I liked this cast, and this would have been much better drawn out as a series. Doesn't mean that they can't take the movie and say, now we're spinning this off into a TV series, which happens with a lot of books. And if they still have all these actors under contract, maybe they could. I said I didn't hate this, but I think this, really could have, its flaws could have probably been ironed out if you had more time to work with the cast and the plot.
I think they just have the wrong director, honestly. Chris Columbus is corny as hell. And these books are cozy, but not corny. They're definitely edgy. Like, there's violence in them. What happens in this is there's basically indentured servitude situation with the passports being taken away, like a quasi-human trafficking situation, right? Mm-hmm. And in the books, that's much scarier. There's a gangster, a woman who's like a villain, who's very fucking scary in the books, who Bogdan, actually, that's how we end up meeting him, because he's sort of like working for her or whatever. But like, there's nothing scary here. It's almost like they wanted to make this for people who read the books just so they could see it, as if we're not smart enough to remember that the books are good. That's how it felt to me. And it was like an homage to the Thursday Murder Club, and not actually the Thursday Murder Club. It was like looking at the cover of a book.
Inspired by the book? Yeah.
It was like looking at the cover of the book. Or you know how you see a movie trailer, which tells you everything that happens, but it's not the movie? This felt like a trailer to me, like a long-ass trailer. It's very disappointing in many ways. Toby, what did you think about the resolution of the actual mystery?
I can't tell you how much I hate shows where at the end it's like the murderer actually just did it by accident. I thought that ruined Mayor of Easttown. Spoiler alert, I guess. And it does it here too. It's like, I didn't mean to, it was an accident. It's like, just suck it up. Like, seriously, like, just if somebody gets killed by somebody else, just make it intentional. I mean, I don't think it's that much of a reach to be like, my mom was dying and I'm basically working as an indentured servant to this guy who has my passport. I went to ask him for it, and he said no and like threatened me. So I killed him, and I'm sorry, but that was the only way I was going to be able to get out of this situation. That's fine. You can still be sympathetic to the character who just finds himself in a bad place. But I just kind of feel like,
sack up is what
it's like these things don't want to commit to having one of their characters actually do something that violent. So it's always, well, I didn't mean to do it. I just meant to confront him, and then I pushed him and he hit his head on the curb and suddenly he wasn't breathing.
I agree. I completely agree. Let there be bad guys. Let there be actual bad guys instead of, like, David Tennant is in this, right, Kevin? And he plays like the most cartoonish villain. And there's no depth. There's no He's not scary.
I really wanted to meet his sexy ex-wife.
You did? How come?
Well, did you look at her? It's like this giant, she's a model, and there's a giant like mural of her. And I'm like, ooh, she seems nice.
The kid who's having an affair with that woman isn't willing to reveal it to save himself from being arrested for murder. I'm like, seriously,
Nope.
You need your dad to point that out to you? Like, come on, man.
Toby, if I was sleeping with her, I would tell everybody.
Yeah.
I would go around. Rebecca, I would tell your mother.
Yeah.
I would be like so proud.
Get that shit tattooed on your arm or something.
Exactly. You don't have to charge me with murder. I'm just like, what's new? Well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you about last night, boys.
That's right. And again. Yeah, exactly.
So, Kevin, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like one of the things that they could have talked about, when you have a cast of senior citizens, that like it's an opportunity to have some sort of deeper message about growing old. And there's a little bit of this, where we see the cliche, well, you underestimate me because I'm old and you're ignoring all this experience I have and I'm actually very competent. You look by me, they have a little bit of that. It remains kind of a light touch. The exceptions being, at the end when they discover, was it Penny? Who was the former member of the club who's dying?
Yeah, her. Penny.
Her, the cop, where it's like they're going to turn her in and the husband in because of this like cold case murder. And so the husband is like kind of saying like, well, will you give us an hour or something.
Let us do a murder-suicide.
Yeah, and she, she looks over and she sees the syringes and she knows what's going to happen. And so she walks out. That's a little dark. But, it's like, okay, you gave them the dignity to decide when they were going to depart. And they have like a very nice funeral and all that other stuff. And the one little scene that I did find sort of uplifting was the very, very end where Elizabeth and Stephen are having their lunch and they're playing Cat Stevens. And it's like, let's get up and dance. And, it was a great like symbol of like lifelong love. And we all aspire to that. And I hope Rebecca aspires to that with me. Someday we'll have lunch of tuna fish sandwiches and we'll put a little Taylor Swift on the laser player.
Or Cat Stevens. I love Taylor.
Or Cat Stevens, and we'll dance. And then I will forget what's happening when I play chess. So I need to audio tape it so I could go back and find out if I won.
Hey there, it's Katie Nolan, host of Casuals, the sports podcast where we don't care how much you know about sports, we're just happy that you're here. Every week, I hang out with some of my good friends to discuss the biggest stories across sports and entertainment, but in a way that's like fun and not boring. Want to know Sue Bird's favorite Diana Taurasi story? Or how heavy the Larry O'Brien trophy is? Or even what baseball team is right for you based on your moon sign? We got you. Listen to Casuals every Tuesday and Thursday on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye!
Imagine relying on a dozen different software programs to run your business, none of which are connected, and each one more expensive and more complicated than the last. It can be pretty stressful. Now imagine Odoo. Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and are all connected on one platform. Doesn't Odoo sound amazing? Let Odoo harmonize your business with simple, efficient software that can handle everything for a fraction of the price. Sign up today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
What does possibility mean to you?
That's a hard question.
Something that you can strive for.
That I'm able to do anything I set my mind to.
You're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself. Stuff that you could achieve.
I feel excited. Anything is possible when you're more confident.
Shoes are a huge part of that. They are the most important part of my style.
You can express yourself.
In the right shoes, anything is possible.
DSW, countless shoes at brag-worthy prices. Imagine the possibilities.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know, should they check out The Thursday Murder Club? It's a film on Netflix. Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for The Thursday Murder Club?
Yeah, so I did not read the book. I started listening at an audio and I didn't finish. So I don't have that sort of background coming into this. I know a lot of people that read the book feel like this was sort of dumbed down when it went into this movie format. So for me, this was like a super light summer beach read mystery set in a lovely location where I would like to live, with a great cast of characters. It wasn't super deep. It didn't take a lot of thinking. There wasn't a lot of buildup to alternate suspects and theories and things. But here's the thing. It was just fun. It was like an hour. It was like the type of just fun checkout watch that sometimes you need. And I was like, okay, it's kind of like Only Murders in the Nursing Home, but not even as well developed as Only Murders in the Building. But at the same time, it was fun. It was entertaining. Yeah, it could have been more entertaining. It could have been more developed. But for what it was, I was like, this is something that when you're having your relatives over at a holiday and you're like, oh, we're going to watch something besides football, put it on. It's not going to offend anyone. And it was fun and light. It's like a Hallmark movie. So this is a mild thumbs up for me.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for the Thursday Murder Club?
You should just let them watch football, Laura.
Yeah, I agree.
No football.
Whatever. This isn't really my kind of thing to begin with, so you can take it with a grain of salt. But, you got these great actors. Like, it just feels like they don't have to really try very hard. Like, the characters aren't strong enough where they really have to act. Like, you just kind of feel like they're kind of going through the motions to a certain extent. I'm not like a big cozy mystery person, but there's a lot of times I was like, why do I care about this? And like, wait, why is this person like cutting up roses? And the whole thing, I didn't really give a shit, I think is what I'm trying to say. And I'm sort of like a mild thumbs down, I guess. I mean, I hate to give a thumbs down to something with Helen Mirren and Pierce Brosnan and Ben Kingsley in it, but even if it was my kind of thing, I don't think it would have been a very good example of that kind of thing. So that's where I am.
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, I'm a mild thumbs up on this. It's light. It's inoffensive. It's imperfect. One of the things like that could have made this better, like we said, is if instead of trying to make this a film, they had made this a longer series. It would have given a chance for these characters to kind of develop, for us to get to know them. And the expediency and efficiency in which they have to be written and developed for a feature film did it a disservice, especially when you've got like a really great cast of older actors that really want to, make something out of the material. It is a cozy mystery, and so it's going to follow sort of that tone, that format. I wish we had a couple more extra characters that would have made alternate suspects, but it's inoffensive. And it's just light enough that if you want something beachy, I still think this is better than Sirens. But, it's not bad. I don't think people will hate it. So mild thumbs up.
I'm a thumbs down, dog. I didn't like it. When I heard about the casting for this movie, I was so excited because I literally pictured Ben Kingsley and Helen Mirren. And Jonathan Pryce, even. I remember thinking that he'd be a great Stephen. Like, these are exactly the people I would cast. Pierce Brosnan, exactly who I would cast as Ron. Like, it's perfect casting. And then they handed it to Chris Columbus, who turns everything into fucking Home Alone. So corny. The soundtrack is corny. The pacing is corny. The jokes don't land. They just try to make it cute. And I think making old people cute is as offensive as making old people incompetent. Like, I don't like that. I think that they can still be fully fleshed out, interesting characters with an inner life. Only Murders in the Building is a great example of that. And this failed to me on so many levels, but that was the one it failed on the most, because the wonderful thing about Richard Osman's books is that, yes, all the characters are old, but they are fully fleshed out, and them being old is just what they are. It's not who they are. So yeah, it's a thumbs down for me for the Thursday Murder Club. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call the Crime of the Week. Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend continues to lean into all the controversies she's causing. Jordan Hudson is trying to trademark the phrase gold digger. The legendary football coach's relationship with a woman nearly 50 years younger than him continues to be the subject of much fascination. The man, known for extreme message discipline and zero tolerance for players' bad publicity, has become his new team's biggest distraction. Famous for controlling every aspect of the Patriots organization, the sports world remains befuddled watching Hudson control him, shutting down interviews and attempting to trademark his signature phrases to put on merchandise. The Patriots already own the IP and sell merch with Belichick's catchphrases like "do your job" and "ignore the noise." Hudson has taken a cue from Taylor Swift by applying for trademarks with modified phrases such as "do your job," Bill's version. Ugh. Belichick has always had his detractors, and the irony that his Gen Z girlfriend would try to trademark the term gold digger is not lost on many. Some say the next set of ball caps and cutoff sweatshirts he sells should have the phrase "whipped." Ooh. So, panel, the person everyone thinks is a gold digger is trying to trademark the word gold digger. Who will show up next at the trademark office? Laura Bricker.
I think it's that CEO guy who was at the Coldplay concert cheating is going to show up wanting to trademark adulterer.
Nice.
Oh, good one.
What do you think, Toby? Who's going to show up next to the trademark office?
I feel like Kanye's probably got to show up there to fight for the gold digger trademark.
Probably.
Go back to it, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Kevin?
I think Toby's going to wind up there with the phrase cynical.
Oh, trademark that, Toby.
Trademark that. And Laura will be there with cat lover.
Trademark it. Cat Lady, Laura's version.
Yeah, there you go.
That's going to do it for us. But before we go, Laura Bricker, do we have a Cat of the Week this week?
So I need people to send in their Cat of the Week nominations. I haven't been getting a lot of emails and DMs on Instagram or Blue Sky with new nominations. So I'm going to tell you what happened in my neighborhood this week with dogs and cats.
Mm-hmm.
My cat Zelda, the elder, who has gone back to her feral cat roots, has been killing animals like crazy, and not just killing them, but eating them.
Ooh.
And so I was sitting at my desk, which was on my porch the other day, and my neighbor Sue was out back with her dog, Dewey, who was over visiting. And Dewey went out and rolled, and she's like, oh my God, on a very fresh, dead chipmunk.
Yes, as they do.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I went and grabbed a plastic bag, which is my new means of disposing over the bank of these dead animals. And I went racing out so fast that I went flying, knocked over a plant, missed landing on the dead chipmunk, and then found 3 more.
Oh, nothing a dog likes more than rolling around a corpse.
It's like the Thursday Murder Club. You keep digging up dead bodies.
There's so many dead bodies in my backyard. The one that was most disturbing, I found just a head with no body. I was like, oh my God, I thought it was an acorn. I was like, that's not an acorn. That's a head.
Hopefully you're saving some money on cat food. All right, Laura Bricker, if folks want to reach out to you and pitch any kind of animal to be Cat of the Week, how can they find you online?
Send me your non-murderous animals at Laura Bricker on Instagram and Blue Sky.
What about you, Toby? How can you be found?
At TobyBall NH on Blue Sky and at TobyBall603 on Instagram.
What about you, Kevin?
I'm at Kevin P. Flynn.
You can follow me everywhere at Reb Lavoie. Follow the show everywhere at Crime Writers On, but mostly you should join our Facebook group, It's Rad. Get episodes early and ad-free and everything else we make at patreon.com/partnersincrime-media. Our theme song was composed and performed by the fabulous Ty Gibbons. Our editor is the terrific Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin. This show was recorded in Studio C, the closet in our New Hampshire basement, where we also try to get information from reluctant sources with large slices of rum cake. On behalf of all the crime writers, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you later. Yeah, what do you think, Kevin?
You're going to see Toby there looking for the word cynical.
Yes. What about you, Kevin?
About who? What?
What about you, Kevin? Who's going to show up next to the
said
trademark
it.
office? Oh.
I just said
that
it.
was your answer.
That was my answer.
Shit. Can you say it again?
Yeah.
Partners in Crime Media.
Hey everybody, Ted Danson here to tell you about my podcast with my longtime friend and sometimes co-host Woody Harrelson. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name, and we're back for another season. I'm so excited to be joined this season by friends like John Mulaney, David Spade, Sarah Silverman, Ed Helms, and many more. You don't want to miss it. Listen to Where Everybody Knows Your Name with me, Ted Danson, and Woody Harrelson sometimes, wherever you get your podcasts.
Imagine relying on a dozen different software programs to run your business, none of which are connected, and each one more expensive and more complicated than the last. It can be pretty stressful. Now imagine Odoo. Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and are all connected on one platform. Doesn't Odoo sound amazing? Let Odoo harmonize your business with simple, efficient software that can handle everything for a fraction of the price. Sign up today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
What does possibility mean to you?
That's a hard question.
Something that you can strive for.
That I'm able to do anything I set my mind to.
You're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself. Stuff that you could achieve.
I feel excited. Anything is possible when you're more confident.
Shoes are a huge part of that. They are the most important part of my style.
You can express yourself.
In the right shoes, anything is possible.
DSW, countless shoes at brag-worthy prices. Imagine the possibilities.